to WCS Europe Season 2 Premier League round of 16. One man down, one still to find for the round of 8. Naniwa coming through safely with 2 wins out of 2. MMA now awaits the winners of our next game, which will take place between Tefel and Happy. You can see there in the lower bracket, MMA waiting to play the winner of our next game. So, who's it to be? Is it to be Tefel? Is it to be Happy? Both of these two players have played well throughout round of 32, as you can see on your screen right now. 2 wins apiece for each of them and a single defeat for each of them as well. And both of them have lost today in the round of 16. So it's a big game for both players. They don't want to go down to Challenger League, but that's what's going to happen to them if they lose now. The winner will go on and play MMA. If it's Happy, one of the last man remaining, or the last man remaining of the Great 8, stays alive. If he's gone, we've lost all 8 from last season's round of 8 in WCS Europe. That would be absolutely astonishing. It's time for our lower bracket game, and your commentary team are once more Apollo and Colaris.
Thanks very much, Paul. Welcome back to the caster's desk here as we now get geared up for our next match, as we see if Mr. Happy will fall down to Challenger or will Tefel.
Yeah, I don't know which one it's going to be. These two players know each other very well. They play against each other a lot in online cups. They play against each other a lot on the ladder. And most importantly, they know each other's style. So it'll be interesting to see how this is really going to develop out. So let's begin this by just looking at which maps they want to veto out. It looks like Tefel is going to be the one to begin.
Yeah. As he goes for, well, we'll see in a second, as our WCS commish does conduct the proceedings here. And these guys have played each other a lot. I think they have like 15 series against one another in the past broadcasted matches or something like that. So they certainly know each other pretty darn well. Derelict Watcher and Star Station do get vetoed out.
These are 2 interesting maps that get vetoed out here, because these are the 2 maps. Red City not so much, but Derelict Watcher and Star Station, 2 maps with big open area space around the 3rd base, which is Tefel's style, I think. You know, the last time I saw him play a lot of Zerg versus Terran, it was very Roach Hydra focused. Not so much the traditional Zergling, Baneling, Mutalist. So the maps that have been vetoed out already, the first couple, kind of help Happy a little bit here. I mean, Belshire, Newkirk, and Whirlwind, 3 maps.
I think with my lip reading skills, I saw Belshire Vestige as our first map.
Okay.
From Tefel.
Okay, cool. All right, so decent map setup here. But talking about the 2 styles from players, as mentioned, I think Tefel's really a player that likes to play a lot of Roaches, very heavy Roach and Hydra, with actually a lot of disconnection with his play.
Net Wars. Sorry, go on.
What's Net Wars?
It's that website. It's the biggest Polish StarCraft 2 website.
Oh, okay, okay. How'd you say hello in Poland? Polish.
I can't remember.
But you know this StarCraft 2 Polish website that you don't...
I do, man. And Net Wars. Everyone knows Net Wars.
I didn't know Net Wars.
Sorry.
Maybe it's my ignorance. Sorry.
I have an unfair advantage in that regard, though. So.
Why is that? Disclosed reasons, I just realised what I asked. Never mind about that one. So, going back to what I was trying to say is... that's okay, Colaris. We all know you're a Casanova. Tefel is a player that likes Roaches and Hydras, but I think Happy is not stupid. I think he knows to build tanks, which is obviously very good against this style. Watching Happy play in the round of 8 last time, or at least in the round of 16 and round of 8 last time, he did that very well against Damaga. Was adapting to that playstyle, which I think Tefel plays very similar. So it'll be interesting to see how Tefel's changed his play up since the last time we saw him play, and how is Happy going to play, because Happy is very, very strong. Opens up really greedy, doesn't have any holes, doesn't really lose to any all-ins very often, and sets himself up for the mid-game with great upgrades, great economy, and a great army size, which is very difficult for a Zerg player to deal with sometimes.
And Tefel's a player in this matchup that you see some unconservative things from. For example, Tefel is a guy that very rarely goes hatchery first. Very rarely. As he finds far more comfort in going for the spawning pool first to deal with anything that would occur early on. But against a player like Happy, where almost nothing ever happens really early, does Tefel still stick with that mantra?
Yeah, that's the thing that only one man can decide, and it's the man in the Dignitas top here. And he needs to choose his style for this series. Is it going to be what we expect it to be as viewers and as Happy's expecting, or is it something different? Because remember, both players are really fighting. They're not really. They are fighting to stay in this tournament from elimination.
Yeah.
And not only for themselves, but for their races. There is no other Terran players apart from Happy and MMA left. There's 2 Zerg players left. You know, Tefel and Vortex tomorrow.
Well, we'll see now as we get into game number 1. And spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner as our red Terran, representing Russia and Team Empire. Give it up for Happy. Hi, Happy. And spawning up to the top left as our blue Zerg, representing Dignitas and Poland. Give it up for Tefel.
All right, Tefel was, you know, a little bit annoyed with this series against Naniwar, and I don't think we've seen anything from Tefel yet today, because that series is a difficult one to say, have we seen good stuff from Tefel today? Because I described earlier that it was a build and strategy he wasn't used to playing against, so that's difficult to judge him on. Because he just didn't know how to play it. And if he was to play a rematch, then I think we could judge him on it. But now coming into a game against Happy, there is nothing that he shouldn't be expecting. He should be knowing exactly what Happy's going to do and exactly how to stop it. So this is the real judgment game, I feel, for Tefel more than anything.
But despite that, Happy was able to, in the round of 32, dispatch of sort of extremely, extremely well. So Tefel has a very tough time ahead of him. And 1 second, I think we're going to have a pause as we saw Mr. Tefel take his headphones off.
Oh, I can do that. No, I can't.
Something's going on. So
wait a minute. I think Adabisi should pause it with the help of my P. As Tefel has a problem which we'll need to resolve. So
not being able to ask for a pause, I think it must be to do with his keyboard.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but it is paused here by the admin.
I think we may have a regame as well here.
Yeah, I think so. I think there was too much time with him without anything. He's got 550 minerals in the bank, so this is obviously a big problem which we're going to have to look at. Admins need to go see Tefel.
Admins are few and far between, apparently.
So yeah, I don't know what's going on. He's also like, all right, I need some help here.
Someone forgot headphones.
Happy in the chat said someone forgot to wear headphones as he looked across and saw his opponent without any headphones on. But we will get this resolved, so just hang on for a second here as Happy looks with the stare of death to like, what the hell are you doing? You're wasting my time.
Even smart.
He may have also heard, I don't know, he's going to say something. He's like, what's going on, man?
What is this?
I think it's a regame. I think the admin's just saying it's a regame. It's, I mean, it's what, 2 minutes into the game. Nothing was really set up there.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the problem though. It obviously keyboard because he couldn't pause it or something. So.
Yeah, I think we'll be informed about what was actually going on in just a sec.
Do you?
But I'm assuming it was keyboard man.
I'm just gonna take a guess and say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. It was some kind of bug in the game apparently, so we were notified. Look at that keyboard. Look at the size of that thing.
That's a pretty hefty keyboard.
That's like a 1998 keyboard.
I remember for the longest time, Elfie was a player that used a keyboard from when he was like 10 or something. And Happy seems
There's another player that did that as well. I'm trying to think what it was. Who was it? I can't remember now.
There's a lot of players.
There's a lot of players that play with these ridiculously old keyboards, but it's because they've been playing with them for so long. For so long. Alright, so... Alright, we're just going to wait for this regame to be hosted up, and we'll get into that straight away, so thank you for just bearing with us.
Battleship Vestige again, who would have guessed?
Oh, that's funny, it's the regame on the same map.
Wow, who would have guessed? Alright, well... fully enough, actually, we didn't really say anything about what Happy was doing there anyway.
Well, I don't want to say too much, as both players are still just getting set up to go into the game. But I definitely do want to talk about a couple things from both players, actually.
All right, then, we shall get into this. We'll skip introductions for our intro, as, I mean, there's not really too much point. So let's jump in to game number 1 here, guys, as... It's funny because I say we were skipping introductions, but my mind just straight went to that. So, what did you want to say, Apollo?
Okay, what I wanted to say is that there was a 14 spawning pool that was built.
Yep.
So the spawning pool build over the hatchery is something that only one individual does at the top ish European level, which is Tefel.
Yep.
And so he always goes spawning pool first. And it's basically to say that there is never, ever going to be an option for me to lose to 2x. It also, with 14, not 15 spawning pool, offers him the chance to build 6 Zerglings against the command center that's down early on the potential low ground. So I think that if it plays out the same, which it should, both players should respect, you know, that the game didn't even go on. They're just going to do the same thing again here. As Happy goes back to get ready for his command center first. That if we see the 14 spawning pool come down, let's look at see what he does with this.
I think he probably will do so again. But the thing is that Tefel, for Tefel, you know, it's so predictable that he does this. I mean, we mentioned it before the game even started that he does this, so it would be very strange for a Terran like Happy to actually take any unnecessary risks against it. I
completely agree. That's all I'm going to say.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, the Overlord with his lovely skin. That's all I have for now. I mean, there's not much else going on. It's funny hair. It's got some weird hair, guys. I don't know what to tell you. It's pretty cool.
I don't play with this skin.
No?
No.
Actually, I think it's kind of ugly.
I play with graphics off. I don't have any of this fancy stuff.
Yeah. Do you play with the Zergling skin?
No, absolutely not.
That one's a brutal one.
That's annoying.
Yeah, especially in ZVZ, man. It's a tough one.
All right, so we do have command center on the low ground here. As the spawning pool finishes up, a queen is built, but what does he use his lava on? I think at this point he does have a couple of lava, but he has 2. Does he build 4 Zerglings here, or does he just go ahead and add on extra drones upon seeing the command center down? There is a chance that he could do some damage, but he's taken the drone option here to continue to increase his economy.
Yep, I like that. That's a nice option to go for, and Happy is going to send his scout out in just a little bit. And meanwhile, not too much else going on, to be honest with you, as that barracks will finish up. Tefel's command center.
Do you think Tefel plays Roach Hydra like normal, or does he play for the Mutalist style that we see so often from players like Stefano, Jaedong, Hyun, these kind of players? Do you think that style's coming out, or does he go to what he usually does?
I think Tefel goes to what he usually does. I mean, it was very evident in his ZVP that he wasn't willing to deviate, not only in his first game, but also after he saw what his opponent was doing time and time again, but then still very viciously stuck with what he was used to. So I think Tefel's a player that is very confident in his abilities and his decisions before the actual event of the game. And will stick. Okay, well, I mean, he's used Roach Hydra in all of his games leading up to today, which is players. Well, he won against Crass in Challenger League, 2 wins to 1. He won against BCQT 2-0 in the Premier League itself in round of 32, and then he did drop down 1-2 against MVP. But against MVP, you know, some may say that he, as described earlier, had a disconnection with his later game. He goes up to these 1-1, 2-2 attack timings with Roach Hydras, but nothing else, nothing after that. And that's where he really fell apart. But look at Happy here. No 3rd command center, which is a little bit different to the norm. The extra 2 barracks very, very quickly here. And it's funny because this is actually something that Happy in the round of 8, I want to say, did against his Zerg opponents, which was a deviation from what he did in Season 1 in the round of 32 and the round of 16. So very curious to see Happy actually fall back onto this bit more macro intensive with unit style. Yeah, he's going to be quite aggressive with Hellions here. So I think he'll go up to like 8 to 10 Hellions, depending on if he sees Roaches or Roach Warrior made early, and then kind of join forces together with a bunch of Marines as Stimnir finishes. And this is, yes, it hurts his economy, and yes, it hurts his upgrades, because it could have been a 3rd command center. It could have been a double engineering bay. But in return, he decides to, you know, try to get a lot of units out there. So he would like to do something here. Of course, it is pretty good defensively against a player that plays aggressive. But now that the evolution chambers are on their way, we get to finally answer our burning desire of what is actually going to be the choice of strategy from Tefel. Yeah, he loves what he knows. And, well, the Hellions are not going to be able to really breach this too easily at all. The Queen's very, very well positioned. There's the range upgrades, as we predicted earlier. Yeah. So Tefel sticking with what he knows best. So you nailed it when you come down to thinking about what we could see. Yeah. And
I wonder if Happy is probably thinking the same. He already has a tech lab on his factory. So this really shows that he's really expecting this, and tanks against roaches and hydras are perfect. They really, really are. They deal a lot of damage. They're much, much further behind the army. And on a map like Belshire Vestige, a lot of these roach and hydras are going to be clumped up, but nice pick off there with these Hellions onto that queen.
Even doesn't lose a Hellion.
Doesn't lose a single Hellion.
No. And, you know, it's always funny when you kind of cast these games, because you go into it thinking, well, Happy versus Tefel, yep, TVZ, I'm going to be casting a TVZ.
Yeah.
But to me, this feels like we are casting Happy versus Tefel. Like, because of the styles they choose here, and Happy is reading into Tefel like a book. He knows what his opponent does.
There's actually a timing that Happy's going into scout for here alongside killing drones. I'll mention that in a second. He does pick up 2.
Ooh,
and maybe more.
Could get a lot more here, as the drones have to separate themselves up here. 6 go down, so do 8, and 10. Nice pickoffs by Happy.
Okay, so what I wanted to describe there was that he went in to see if the gases had been taken on his third base. Because there is a timing, a strategy from Zerg players that they do not drone towards their third, and they build a major amount of roaches and attack with roach speed, which is why we have the bunker down, which is why he sent the Hellions past, with to kill drones, but to scout out what his opponent was doing. And likewise, we see Tefel scouting out, seeing no third command center, seeing late upgrades, but he must now know that tanks are in production. He must now know that he needs to worry about drops.
And interestingly enough here, we don't have a Hydra stand down just yet, do we? And the drop is on the way into the main base, so we'll try and do some damage. Don't know if we'll see the infestation pit here yet, though, as it is over at the natural, and trying to do the damage that he can. Those roaches were far out of position here to deal with this, and he's probably going to lose his spawning pool.
Where are they? they're on the third.
Having a party elsewhere.
Well, he picks off a queen, and he's going to get the spawning pool. It's not too big of a deal here. He's not really going to build any...
What? Drops one Marine, get it! Yes! Win! You didn't die in vain, Marine.
It's not too much of a big deal. He's not building Zerglings at this point, so... The one thing they can't do is continue to build queens, which can be a bit of annoying because he's lost them. That's the biggest thing. But we do see pathogen glands coming in, as well as +2 missile attacks, and probably Carapace soon to be. Interesting choice. And as Happy now, he didn't see it, did he? So
no,
he doesn't know if it is Roach Hydra or not, or anything here. So all he needs to do, no matter what, is play defensive. Just take this third base once it's ready, sit behind your tank line, and that's a lot of tanks.
That is.
But the smoothness of Tefel's build and strategy starts to get rough soon. Because once he gets to 2-2 and past that, what does he do next? And that's where Happy is going to capitalize on his strategy. Happy's not looking to win the game anytime soon.
I mean, in just a little bit, would it not be wise to actually try and invest a little bit of that gas into the hive so he can transition onto 3-3 very easily? Because that could actually line up quite nicely if he does it soon-ish.
Yeah, 3-3 and Vipers can work. Maybe as soon as 2-2's done, he starts +1 melee and starts to look towards going over to Ultralist with a few Hydras and maybe a couple of Infestors. But the Infestors here are going to be quite crucial in stopping the drops, because he doesn't have the Spire and he doesn't have the Hydralisk, as you say. So he really needs to land the right fungals and to be able to stop these drops from being active, but at the same time balance the energy saving with the Infestors, because they're going to be important in the fight.
Yeah, drop scans, he's roaches in the middle of the map, not really going to cause him too much of a bother here, as Happy is soon going to start ramping up this kind of drop pressure even further, not only to this right-hand side, but also to the left. If he can deny this fourth base, that's a great pick up there for Happy, and circling speed.
Well, he picks it up. Nice there by Happy.
Yep. Just picks up and gets right back on out. Third's going to go down as well.
Very conservative play by Happy. Really, really conservative. Lots of tanks. Delaying his upgrades, delaying his third base. It's 13 minutes. An innovation build or a Lucifron build, a flash build. The third is actually being lifted up at 8 minutes. It's 13 minutes, 30 seconds. And this drop, well, you escaped. Or are you going to? Where's the boost? Oh, it's not active. Well, you're going to die anyway.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, no, he gets away.
What? Okay, that happens. Madness. That happened apparently, man. And the Hydralisks are now coming out for Tefel.
Oh, this is an interesting push. It's definitely a push to try to get towards the 4th, but he's got to be careful. There's a lot of infestors.
At least he's seen them,
There's a major army supply, but they are spread around in the main base and stuff, which is maybe why he thinks he can get to this. Look at this nice play, actually. He has control of the Zelnaga too, so he knows it is going unspotted, unscouted, and even that drops a sacrifice. Oh, this is really, really well calculated.
Yeah.
That's really, really well done, but he's got to be careful to get out as well. He has no mothership core like Protoss, he has no recall.
Oh, those siege tanks actually not in the best position here to deal with these roaches, as they're going to get completely crushed from the roaches on the high ground. Meanwhile, a lot of firepower here from the Marines. Doesn't have any actually fungals here, bringing these infestors forwards and has to land a few more. But will push Happy back.
Oh, Tefel, nice. Nice, and with the drop inside the main base too, that's quite good there for Happy, but... And there's a drop on the 3rd. So actually, Happy's doing a lot more than I thought he was, but does he have the defense at home to make sure he doesn't die to what's coming to his natural? There's a couple of tanks.
And it's 106 army supply to 69 in favor of Tefel here. He's probably just going to try and go for it. He knows he can't save everything back home with how out of position his army is right now. He's lost a lot back there. This is going to be it here for Tefel.
Don't lose units to tanks. Go kill the 3rds.
He needs to do something. He drops a fungal on the front of that. But yeah, you're right. The 3rd is completely exposed. Infested Terrans are going to try and break this, but I don't think they're going to be too useful. Maybe they'll get a supply depot. But even that.
Oh, he grabbed a Marine! No, the Viper! Oh, good fungal, though.
Oh, very nice fungal, especially with the 2nd one and the 3rd one there for the chain. Just making sure that it does not dissipate there on those Marines, killing off quite a lot of them, but Happy still doing the damage at the front here with these Marines. They're going to go uncontested completely there. Whoa, actually, this siege tank's doing a lot.
Yeah, that's so difficult to break through that wall, and Happy still with up to 60 Marines there. GG. And well, Happy opens up game number one with a win.
And that was an interesting TVEZ. I was not expecting Happy to be as free with his medevacs as he was. With the infestors out and the ability to actually lock them down with the fungals,
yep.
Happy seemed pretty comfortable.
Yeah, it was a weird one, that one. It wasn't a very streamlined game. But, well, you know, whatever the case, that Happy does open up with the first win, and now Tefel needs to win 2 in a row. And 2 in a row can be difficult against a player that seems to have his number, his telephone number.
All right, well, now Tefel here has to make sure that he can come back from this deficit he finds himself in. He was the wild card coming into this group. There's no denying that. But he certainly could make it happen, but Happy's one of those players that time and time again, European players say they just don't want to play him.
Well, here's some moments from the end of that game there, as you see that Tefel's just like, all right, shaking that head, and then puts his head in his hands.
A concerned look.
All right, Coach Kalaris.
Coach Kalaris.
What would you say? Words of wisdom. Words of motivation, wisdom. Whatever you want, what would you go and whisper softly, politely, gentlemanly into his ears?
I think that just was not Tefel's comfort zone at all. It didn't look comfortable for him.
What, the infestors?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was drops going on to the left that were not locked down by the infestors. Maybe stress, maybe something, I don't know. But I would like to see Tefel go back to just the Roach Hydralisk play, and then maybe later on incorporate the infestors. He's had more success with that in the past. Although dealing with Happy in such a way is also very difficult. I think he's run into a real roadblock here in Happy.
And if you were to backstab your best friend Tefel and go speak to Happy, what would you tell him?
Do what you're doing, man. It's hard to actually break that with what Tefel's going to be doing.
You're so two-faced, Cloris.
Am I? I'm sorry. You make me that way.
All right, we'll see what these players do. Actually, yes, I think they're waiting for me to get in the game. Sorry, I was walking around and I'm thinking about what they're going to do, and it's actually waiting on me to get in the game, so sorry about that.
Not joking, it really is walking around.
Yeah, so we'll get into the game, and the next map's Newkirk. I think you need to get in the game too, Cloris, actually. But you've been declined. But the next map, Newkirk, is a map where I feel that Happy is going to be a little bit concerned, because it is a big, wide open area for Roach and Hydras to come in from. I think it can be difficult sometimes for the Terran player to defend in the wide open, which is where Happy's going to have to take his base. And if he does stay true to his style, Tefel that is, and play a Roach Hydra play, and that's going to be definitely a concern on Happy's mind. But if he plays as conservative as he did, is it even a problem for him?
We shall see now as we jump into game number 2 with Happy flailing his mouse as vigorously as he possibly can do here. Going into Newkirk Precinct, and we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner, that man himself as the Red Terran, representing Empire and Russia. Give it up for Empire Happy. And spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, 1 game away from elimination here in the WCS Europe Premier League, representing Dignitas and Poland. Give it up for Tefel.
This is, it is quite a stressful thing for Tefel to be playing here. Not just because he's 0-1 down, but he's on the verge of being more than just the name Tefel, if that makes sense. Because and what I'm trying to say is that when you look at the list of players that Europe has to offer, and you look at Tefel, and you say, yes, he's a mid-tier Zerg player that's decent, can probably take maps away from anyone, but he's nothing more than that. But if he was to be able to go through to the round of 8, potentially the only Zerg to go through, depending on how Vortex performs tomorrow, he automatically just changes people's perception. And that's quite a big thing to think about.
It certainly is. Tefel, the thing is that going into Premier this season is in itself quite an achievement. Right? Like the competition for getting into Premier itself is very, very brutal right now in the European scene, in every scene indeed. But well, look at this. Hey, he turned the skin off.
Yes. He listened to us. I hope he's playing on low graphics as well. Those are the things that are going to make him play well. You know, when I don't know how it works. With skins, is it a profile thing or is it a game thing?
It's a profile thing, I think, and interestingly, I think he's turned them off because in the rules you're not allowed to have them on in Premier.
Oh, okay.
So
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Okay, so
the Ultralisk one, I love that, but you can't have it on.
Oh, that's like the glowing Ultralisk, really.
It's cool, man.
I think I've played against that a couple of times.
It's fun stuff. I actually prolong games just so I can get my Ultralisks out, so they can be all glowy, and I'd be like, woo, look at the Ultralisk. And then I'm on a barcode and randomly BMing people, because that's what I do.
What? You're a barcodes?
I didn't say that. No.
You're a barcode nerd. I actually don't play under a barcode.
I like to be anonymous, man, so I can anonymously BM people in the most amusing of ways.
You're one of those, are you?
No, not like general, like nasty BM. Like if I see someone with a girly name, I'm like, that's a sissy's name, and then they're like, that wasn't very nice. I'm like, I know, ha 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 ha. So yeah.
Wow, Claris, I didn't know this about you. I'm learning more and more each day we cast.
I'm so sorry.
I guess you post on forums under anonymous names and stuff as well, don't you?
I definitely do.
I bet you've got more than one Reddit account, don't you, Claris? I bet you've got more than one Team Liquid and 4chan account, Claris.
I don't want Team Liquid, but I do everywhere else, I think.
More than one account?
Maybe, yeah. Fun times. Everyone likes doing this, admit it. You're not saying anything. Come on, back me up.
Yeah, I love doing it as well. I do it.
All right. Everyone's gonna hate us.
I don't actually post on forums that much. That's the honest truth. I post in some live threads on Team Liquid when I'm watching some StarCraft games or something like that. But I really don't post on forums that much at all. Okay, so gasless-ish style from Tefel into. It's like 4 queens, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. 4 queens and then... Oh, just 3, sorry. 3 queens, then a single gas being taken with a faster third base than usual. But Happy's build is much more streamlined to a regular Terran opening here, which is just the command center first into the gas, single gas, adding on that factory, then adding on the third command center. Second gas taken quite fast here on that natural. Actually, no. It's okay. It's timed. Okay.
Yeah.
But it may be a little bit confusing here for Tefel, who may try to poke in from this side and not see that second gas, because that means that maybe there is a bunch of barracks coming down or something along the lines that isn't involving that second gas. So,
meanwhile, I mean, looking at the gas here, look at how rapidly Tefel's taking all of his gases. But he was doing this as well in game number 1, so it goes back to his style of trying to get all that gas banked up so he can start his 1-1 pretty fast and then get the roach production going.
Yeah, he's got a quite fast layer here, which means he's going to be able to get roach speed quite early on. So depending on how fast Happy takes his third, we could see that timing I talked about earlier. When roach speed completes to an attack on the third, you sacrifice a lot of drones and go for it. So that's just something to keep in mind. But another thing to look at is look how well timed that he's able to get +1 attack. It's seconds off, but then he should get +1 carapace immediately, and it really is very close. So he's timed his gas out quite well.
And the Hellions still poking away here, trying to deny this creep shed. Ooh, gonna try and sneak on past, but the Queens do very successfully block there. A very good control maneuver there by Tefel. And the double engineering bay goes down. I think that's a little bit quicker than the previous game, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Tank production, very early.
Yep.
Layers finished up 2. Let's have a look at that drone count. It's at 54, and is he building drones towards that third here? 4 overlords in production.
Well, he transferred those very smartly. We're behind the roaches. It cannot be all too eager for people to just transfer over and be like, yay, economy.
I think he's going to start his roach production. Yeah, there's one. Come on.
Bit more.
There you go. Come on, Tefel. Rise that roach count up. And he pokes in now and says, all right, what am I going up against? All right, crap, tanks. That's the first thing he says. He's like, damn it, tanks. And I wouldn't be surprised if he actually started drone production again.
Yeah, especially after losing some here as well. He wants to actually get up to that drone count that he would like to. Does start a few more. So he lost 8, replaces with 7, 8, 9.
I definitely think he was looking for an attack there.
Yeah.
But then he saw tanks out early again and was like, oh, and now goes up towards just a bunch of drones. So what I think that he will want to do now, as he drones and takes his gas on his third, I put the Hydralisk den down now. Screw the infestation pit. And what I would look to do is to do a 2-2 timing, but very heavily on Hydralisks. Because even if he has tanks on the high ground, with a decent amount of Hydralisks, you may be able to kill the third command center. But 10 more roaches.
Just a lot of roaches,
Drone counts at 66. It's not high, and he does not have the gases on the third. So this now looks again similar to what I was trying to describe just a little bit later, is that he's now building a lot of units. He has enough gas to get 2-2, but he's building more and more.
I feel it was very important, though, for Happy to actually get those 8 drones that he got. Maybe 1 or 2 more, but no. But getting those meant that this delays Tefel's push a little bit with just this kind of straight to roaches. Oh, and Scan sees a lot popping.
That's a good scan, that is.
Yeah.
I like that scan, because, of course, he's now, all right, there's no gases on the third. I've seen that with my Hellions. I know what you're like. I know what you're like, Tefel. And immediately, 2 bunkers are being constructed on the third base upon that scan, seeing roaches being hidden in the main base. So he's even killing these, so he can make a bit of a wall here as well, which Tefel is going to spot. But now comes Tefel. He's at 158 supply. Is Happy going to be enough? At 39, but
That's a lot of roaches.
tanks, can they do it? Look at the positions of them.
Pretty darn good. It depends on the angle of attack here for Tefel.
It's a lot of roaches.
Actually, he's just going to come straight from the north. And actually, with the natural movement of those roaches, they set up a great concave here. Raises the supply depots to make sure those roaches actually can't get in. And they are taking a lot of damage from the high ground.
Look at the roaches are flying everywhere.
Trapezists, indeed.
14 roaches were killed.
For what, a bunker?
For nothing. Units lost tab for nothing. Happy contains this attack. A different angle coming in here for Tefel. And he is getting more success here, but still losing units.
Yeah, certainly a better angle, and gets a few SCVs for his troubles, but even if he wanted to try and focus down the command center, he would just lift it up and be good to go away.
Well, he's losing a lot. He's got to be careful. He does have the gases on the third now coming down, a fourth now coming down, as well as the infestation
He'd be
pit.
able to lift it
Why
up
don't you
and
lift
go
it? No,
away.
you could. Whoa!
Oh, that was close. Well, he's going to go for the drop counter aggression here behind this. Hive starts as well with that infestation pit just finishing up. He actually goes for infestors before pathogen glance even starts here, knowing that maybe, well, he wants to just get those out as quickly as he possibly can do. And those Marines trying to do the damage that they can, but Roaches will push them back.
Yeah, the big problem here is that the +2 carapace wasn't started, just +2 attack. The Hive is on its way, which can be nice. And, you know, even if it's in Ultralisk or Vipers, it doesn't actually matter. I would prefer Ultralisk, but it does take longer time to get there.
Oh yeah, certainly. And you know, the upgrades aren't there for him either. When that +2 finishing, maybe he could start the melee, but that would be quite a long time to actually get fully going.
But I don't think that was enough. I don't think he killed enough there to really warrant the amount of units and the late gases and stuff he's taking.
Yeah.
He's happy to scan and see the 4th now coming down. That's kind of normal to see. You see the infestors saying he knows that it's not Hydras now. And as I'm happy, I don't really want to push out with too small of an army. Remember, that was very dangerous for him in that previous game. I would like Happy to just play calm, start dropping a lot. It's infestors. They have to spend a lot of energy to defend the drops, which means he won't have energy for the fight, compared to Hydralists, who deal with the drop and can deal with the fight, but you have to kind of choose what you do with the infestors. And just take a 4th base, go up to 3-3, get your Marauders going, and play it from there.
And it's going to be the one lonely Viper again here from Tefel. I'm wondering why he only actually got one last game and why he's getting one this game.
I think he'll build more than one.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think he'll build more than... Oh, it depends on the tank. It depends on what they're used for. If they're used for Blinding Cloud, or whether they're just used to bring in the few tanks that he has. And if they're used to bring in the few tanks, you don't need that many Vipers. They're a waste of supply, technically.
And should be able to shut down the medevac, but unfortunately the Marines for Tefel are going to stick around and do some damage. He has to run back all the way, but unfortunately for him, Zergling speed still is not done. So his opener here is not really helping him out with these annoying drops.
They are annoying. That's the definition of drops.
Yep.
From the opponent side of things.
That's true. And even just a few Hydras coming out now, so that Tefel is now maxed out.
Well, Tefel's about to take a fight here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish tanks.
That's some good defense positioning. That's like campaign defense.
That is like Fort Knox here. This is going to be very difficult to break through. And as much as Tefel wants to break this, he actually can't. And if he tries, he's going to lose a lot. And oh my god, he actually walks forward. He gets a couple of... Oh gosh.
That's a lot of Zerglings already died there. Fungal as well as Infested Terrans hit.
Can't be
really
serious to fight into that.
And the drops on either side here from Happy.
Happy saying, come on then, you're either going to defend or you're going to attack. You're not going to sit in the middle of the map all day long. What are you actually going to do here? And he's going to attack into this.
Oh, there's so much DPS.
This is suicide.
Happy here, so well set up. He's shutting down the rest of these Roaches and Hydralisks trying to march on in. Tefel has no hope of breaking it, and behind this, he's losing so much.
Yeah, Happy just says, you do it. You're not going to do half. It's, you know, one side of the road or the other. In the middle, you get squished. And right now, as we see, he is in the middle. He's not defending his main, he's not defending his third, and unfortunately for Tefel, his run in the WCS Premier League is nearing an end, and it looks like we will be having the rematch in the TVT mirror. And all Happy has to do now is collect his units together and come for one final push, and then he could end the game. And what a beautiful play there from Happy, really putting the pressure onto his opponent's indecisive plays.
Yeah, perfectly set up with the defense, and then just scooting around the sides here with the annoying pokes and prods, to the point where Tefel had had enough, trying to break him through the middle of the map with his +3 weapons just about to finish up. Tefel right now, army supply, sitting at 96 to 107. So even if he would want to break him and try to, it's going to be so hard.
Just Tefel's playstyle just doesn't work against a player this defensive. It's that simple.
Yeah. And now Happy here, holding on with the Planetary Fortress as well in hand. Tefel's going to retreat. Tefel's going to try and play this out and try and find another route into this game. But it's going to take a miracle here of a comeback for Tefel to try and make work out. And I don't think it's going to be a reverse repeat of MVP versus Tefel.
No, I don't think so. I'm looking over to Tefel here and there, and he's shaking his head. He realizes the position he's in. 50 supply down, getting dropped all over the place. His income's terrible. He's on 2 bases versus a built-up 4-base Terran with 1 million resources in the bank. And it's just not looking good for the Polish player. It's looking really, really sour, unfortunately, with sensor towers coming up. Oh, Happy you, turtle.
Why not? I guess.
Why not, man?
Why not? Happy.
So solid, so strong, such a good defense.
Yeah, it's funny because actually, you know, he plays the turtle style to the point where he's like, well, actually, just come and defeat yourself on my wall, and that's it.
He's just in the middle of the map. He's not attacking, he's not defending, he's dying to drops. It's just a painful thing to watch here for Tefel. And with Roach Hydra play, you have to be so decisive, hit your timings, do it well. But in this game, it's just not working with the way that Happy's playing with so many tanks, so many command centers. 3 starports just for the sake of it at this point. Can go over to battle cruisers, man. Why not?
I mean, until around 20 seconds ago, there were about as many siege tanks as there were roaches, up until he produced just a few more here as well. So Happy's army is looking absolutely phenomenal, whilst Tefel, he's just going to be dancing around on this Roach Hydra for a long time. And again, I have to come back to what we said at the very beginning of the broadcast. Tefel gets stuck in this mid-game. He just gets stuck.
Yeah, and it's one of his biggest weaknesses here. He just doesn't have the proper connection to where he needs to be later. He prefers this style. He wants to make it work, but not today, not against a player of Happy's caliber. And Happy now just scanning around, looking for the army, just patiently making sure this is as painful as it gets. Tefel is building one army, and one army, that's it. That's all he can do. With the lack of income he has, and sure, he's still making a little bit of money off one base at this point, but all he's doing is building up his one army, and there is no way he can ever replenish it. So one fight, either way, it's him taking the fight or Happy making the fight happen, he won't be able to replenish it. So it's this one army, and this one army has to do everything. It has to go through 17 command centers, 1 million ravens, 100 tanks, and an army that isn't going to be beaten easily.
Yeah, the wall of Happy, and he's just going to sacrifice a few SCVs here, knowing that he has enough mules to actually suffice for the rest of the game. Just strengthening his army once again. The army supply is in favor of Tefel right now, but once Happy just continues to add on a few more units, he's going to go up to around 130 supply himself in the army.
Yeah, one of the things we need to look at as well is that Zergs are being squished. There's not too many of them in the round of 16, but in the round of 32 overall, there just isn't that many. And Tefel now staring down the barrel of defeat. As you can see, 164 supply to 52, 54. He actually doesn't have any overlords. He's losing another base, and Happy is actually making this so painful.
If there was ever a definition of having one army to actually end it, it's this, because he can't even make any more. He doesn't have the Overlord capability.
He needs to spend all the Malaverian resources he's got on Overlords.
Yeah.
Ouch. He needs like 10 Overlords to recover from that supply block.
I think Happy's taking sick pleasure in this. Hey, look at it! Look at how many sensor towers he has!
Yeah, I agree. I think he's taking a lot of pleasure in this.
He certainly is.
I think he's like, I will upgrade everything. I will play with...
He's even getting Terran building armor! I'll make sure your roaches cannot kill my supply depots. Anyway, here comes the fight. Some Hunt-Seeker missiles do hit a few of those roaches. They just get demolished, and, well, Happy, he's pretty content right now.
That's one way to describe it.
Yeah, that certainly is. As the Marines moving forwards as well, he's going to try and get that command center, but no, the lift up does occur as well, even repairing, and the siege tanks from behind will help out quite considerably, along with those Hunter-Seeker missiles connecting with some of the Hydralisks. Ouch. GG, well played, and good luck, as Happy is able to take it 2-0 here in game number 2.
All right. The rematch will happen between Happy and MMA. MMA made Happy look, not the same player he was in these 2 games, that's for sure. So don't want to say too many harsh things, of course, because it's all about the rematch. It actually is all about that. So I'm very excited for that. Unfortunately for Tefel, he does fall short in the round of 16, but that is a good place to end. You know, he's come in from Challenger, he's in the round of 32. He's now in the round of 16, and he has that under his name, you know, has it under his belt. I finished in the round of 16 of the WCS Season 2 Europe Premier League. And that's decent. He will go down to Challenger League and have to fight his way back in for next season. But it's just accomplishments. One small feat at a single time, and hopefully more will come.
And now, as we move into the last series, does MMA knock out that last member from the top 8? And does he advance on? We shall see after a post-match interview with the winner, Happy and Red Eye.
Thanks very much, guys. Yeah, a 2-0 victory, Happy. It's great to see you back in the winner's circle again. We missed you earlier on. Round of 8 last year, of course. You're the last surviving member of the Great 8, as we're calling them, from last season. That was much better than the first game tonight. So let's not talk about map 1 so much, but let's talk about map 2, because map 2 is a bit more interesting. And I have to say, I think Apollo and Kalaris both said they thought you were taking some sort of sick pleasure at the end there, because you were just building everything. I don't know how much upgrades you had, but it was almost everything on the board. Why the turtle? Why didn't you just go in and kill him off?
Well, sometimes I lose because I get overconfident, so I just go attack. I didn't want to risk lose on purpose, so I just went for safe strategy and won.
Yeah, absolutely, you did win. What did you learn from the game against MMA earlier on that you can use against him in this next match?
That my TVT is quite bad. Honestly, there's not so much opportunity to train TVT in Europe, because only player who wins me constantly is Lucifron. Other players are either winning me rarely or not at all. So I can't say that my TVT is bad for Europe, but for Korean level, it's not too good. Also, I can say I feel confident in TVT. I have quite small number of strategies in TVT. I didn't actually try to prepare anything new for WCS, because I was at Asus ROG before, and before Asus ROG I was actually practicing for Asus ROG itself, so I had no time to prepare like Bio play. Even despite the fact that I played a second game against MMA with Bio, I haven't really practiced Bio at all in HOTS, only mech.
Okay. I thought, when I saw you play MMA earlier, I thought there was some differences. I mean, we know what your style is. I think everyone knows what your style is. Other players know what your style is. But I thought we started to see a little bit of a different Happy in that game. Was there little changes? There's the subtle things that you've added to your game?
You mean in games against MMA, right? Well, I just thought it will be a bad idea to play the same stuff already again. And anyway, even if I will drop the series, it was not over for me. I could have faced MMA in losers. So I just tried something different. I had some ideas about what I'm gonna do against MMA. We'll try it now.
Well, best of luck. You are through to our final game of the evening. That one's coming up next. This man, Happy, stays alive in the round of 16. Is he the last man of the Great 8? He certainly is. Is he able to make the last 8 this time? We'll find out in the next game. For now, though, we're going to go over to some analysis with Sean.
Hello. Just here again. Going to be doing some analysis. Not too long. This one's actually going to be quite a short, because it was quite a simple game again. We're just going to look at the main fight, which kind of lost the game for Tefel, I'd say. He dedicated a lot of resources, as you can see. This happened a lot today, actually not just in this game, but in other games as well. We see 92 army supplied to 40. That's a lot of money been thrown into that. There's worker count 66 to 62. Ideally would like to be a lot higher for a Zerg player in this position. And he decides to try to go for a Roach play, 42 Roaches, into, hopefully, in his eyes, destroying the third base. So it didn't work out, and that was kind of the main reason why this game was lost. So let's have a quick look to see how badly it didn't work. As the Roaches do come in, and he tries to attack up here for a decent line of units, but with the 3 or 4 tanks shooting from the high ground, he loses so many units and has to back out. And if you look at the army supply, still high because he's making so many units. Happy's is so low, but in just the position he's in, this is never going to work. And what ends up happening, if we fast forward it through, is he finds a way to get to the refinery, a couple of SCVs, very closely, not being able to destroy this command center. But from this position, it's almost a kill move. You actually need to kill this command center and the SCVs. Meanwhile, being dropped and whatnot. And this was the fight that was never going to help him out. So if we just pause it now and look at the conclusion of this to kind of finish this up, is that now 2-2 is on the way, 4th command center on the way, a brilliant army size now starting to ramp itself up with a new production facility for the tanks and more barracks completing. And from this position out, despite Happy being down in supply, you all should know the longer the game goes on, the more Roaches suck. And that's what happens in this game, because they aren't going to be useful from here on out. So that's all we wanted to look at, just that disappointing fight from Tefel, which, kind of cost in this series because it obviously went downhill from here on out. So that is me done here. and hopefully can bring you some sick TVT analysis next when it comes down to MMA versus Happy. But for now, it is time to hand it over to the wonderful, the most beautiful, the non-aging Red Eye.
Oh dear, Apollo. I think he's just trying to troll me back for the comments I made earlier on about Top Gear presenters and Bert and Ernie. We'll find a dynamic duo to mention them and introduce them next time round. We do have one more match remaining, but before we get to that match, just a little quick reminder for you. The premium service is up and running, by the way, on WCS. I'm just going to show you a few of these on the screen right now. You'll get a load of cool goodies. All you need to do is part with a tiny little bit of cash, and you can be a premium user on the WCS channels, and you'll get some cool Twitch chat emoticons. I can see them all spamming them in the channel right now. Go for it, guys. Go for it. GG's, OPs, Terrans, they're all in there as well. You'll also get access to 720p plus, fantastic quality stream, and of course you'll be able to chat in the channel via subscriber mode. So well worth the money. You can also buy the super package as well. And of course, make sure you grab one for the grand finals, which are coming up towards the end of this month. It's going to be awesome. For now, though, we're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, our final matchup of the evening will take place. Will it be Korea or will it be Happy? One of them's going unhappy and one's going to Challenger. We'll find out after the break.